Okay, so rolling forward, we're going to start mapping out areas. Every house has a certain amount of surface area to it, and it's usually a good idea to have a general gist of what that is. What I'd like you to do is head over to the Architecture tab, and then we're going to essentially build the area boundaries by clicking on area boundary. And you can do this automatically. I think the first time you click on this, something might pop up asking you if you want it to draw it for you. I usually click no, and then I draw it in manually. So using the same draw tools that we used for the floor, I'm going to draw out rectangles to represent the areas of my rooms. And I can also use the line tool and do the same for areas that might, be a little irregular. And Revit's really useful in this regard. It's essentially allowing my lines to snap into where they need to snap in order to create the boundary that I am hoping to achieve. Okay, so I have these three different boundaries. I am done with that, so I'm going to press escape a few times, and then I'm going to head over to area, click here, and we are going to select the second option, which I think you can just click that, the area option. And if you notice, when I hover over one of these boxes I created, it tells the area. So I'm going to put those three down like so. And this might actually be a good time to create an area plan. It's something I might have forgot to do. Not a big deal. This stuff happens. I want you to right click on level 1 and duplicate this view. Duplicate and, ooh, interesting. Oh right, area plans now move down here. Oh, so we don't actually need to duplicate it. Awesome. I'm going to delete this. I forgot that we now have area plans that transfer, so it creates its own place in the project browser, like so. And now we have these three areas. Of course, not the best way to show something, so I'm going to grab this area word and I'm going to drag it outside of this box. And you'll notice the leader line trailing past it, and you'll also notice the question marks, such as we moved it outside the area box and it kind of forgot what it was. I'm going to hit OK for that error over there, and the only thing you need to do is reactivate the leader line. You have to tell this line over here that it is a leader line pointing to this room. And if I check that box and I hit apply, you will have your area. So I can do that for all three of them. And this is a relatively small home. I don't think more than one person could live in an area this size. I'm sure it's possible. But there we go. Those are the three areas to our three rooms. And we can also label them. So I'm going to double click on area, and let's call this my bathroom. This will be the study room, and this is my living room. So now everything has been organized like so, and this is actually really good because later on we're going to design things called schedules. And schedules is a nifty thing that architects and people who are essentially estimating the cost of a project use to determine how much of a certain material they need or how much of a certain component they need. Like how many of these windows do I need? And this is going to help us because if we know we need 68 square feet of tiles in the bathroom, then the project architect can go ahead and purchase that. Or at least, let the appropriate parties know. So we have these three things set up. We also want to dimension our floor plan. We usually do an exterior dimensioning to help us locate components. And that's also something we can do. So I want you to head over to the Annotate tab, click on the Align tool, and then I just want you to go from like one end to one end, and then I want you to go up and click. So this area here is 25 feet from one end to one end. Now that might not If I press escape twice, that might not have been what you wanted. So what we could do is once you press escape twice, you can click on this line, and if you see this little dot over here, we can click on that and we can adjust where the line exactly is going. So we forgot to factor in the thickness of our walls when we first designed this, and that's kind of an oversight on my part. This is how it reads the 25 feet that we typed in. It's only taking half of the exterior wall. And I could have compensated for that. I mean, I can still fix it. We just have to push the walls in. But let's just go ahead and, you know what, let's leave it as 25. And moving from there, actually no, we can't leave it as 25. We got to move it out exterior. If we move it from the interior, that could cause potential confusion if someone's designing this later on. Okay, so I'm going to use aligned again, and now we're just going to go from that wall to the center of the window, and we're going to drag it out like this. And what I'm doing here is I'm chaining dimensions. This is something oftentimes done in engineering, and it is useful to do so we can know where things are. So when we chain to windows or to doors, what we do is we chain them from the center. So this has been dimensioned fully. I'm not going to dimension this last part, even though you're more than welcome to if you'd like. It's a rule of dimensioning where if I know this number and I know this number, I can predict, or I can pretty much tell you what this number is just by subtracting it from the total. So if I add a dimension here, I'm over dimensioning this floor plan. Whoops. And I don't want to do that right now, just because it is a rule. But if you want, you can add it. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing bad's going to happen. And we can do the same thing with the sides as well. So if you'd like, you can continue doing this. So that you can get more practice, and practice will help you get better using this tool. Cool. So now we have dimensions, we have area labels. The next thing we can do is we can add a subfloor to our houses, create a basement or a crawl space of some sort. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do next. So I will see you then.